Welcome back to Let There Be Light, and I hope that you have had a good week, and it's good to be into the weekend. One of the topics that's not discussed very often in the Christian church is relationships. And of course, relationships are at the heart of all that we do in our families, with our friends, in our church families, in our workplaces. And so often it's the breakdown of relationships that cause many, if not most, of the problems that we have in society. And this is particularly true of the Christian church. When you look at the Christian church, you see kind of like almost a devastation of split churches and problematic churches and relationships falling down. And often in conjunction with this, the reason this is the case is because when we talk about sin in the Christian church, we often think of the big sins. We think of sexual immorality, we might think of murder, we might think of cheating. But very often do people really address issues like slander, defaming someone's character, just hammering someone's character, or things like gossip, talking about things that are not true, or malice, plotting evil against someone else. Well, the key for relationships in the New Testament is taught by Matthew and Matthew 18, and such critical verses. And if we apply these verses to our lives, it's gonna hinder or stop most of the problems that we have in our relationships. Well, Matthew 18, verse 15, 16, and 17 gives us three simple steps. Step number one is this: if you have a problem against a brother or sister in the Christian church, it says, Matthew tells us to go and show us our fault between the two of us. So if you've got a problem with someone in the church and they have offended you in some way, upset you in some way, something that they're doing is really bothering you or doing to you is bothering, then rather than slandering them to other people or gossiping about them, the New Testament command, go and speak to them face to face, one to one. Don't send them a text, don't send them a WhatsApp message, don't send them an email, whatever it is. Go and talk to them face to face and work out this problem. And in that way, the problem is kept between the two of you. So there's no room for any kind of malicious talk. So you are to go to that person and show them their fault. You do that graciously, you do that humbly, you do that lovingly, you do that with compassion. And then the verse 15 says, if in the time you have that discussion, that you work it out, you've won your brother or sister over. The case is closed. So it's vitally important when you go to sort out a problem, you go one to one. You don't take another person with you. You don't take three people with you. You don't take four people with you. It's the whole point is reconciliation, is to help your relationship with that other person. That's what you do. If you take another person with you, or two or three or four, then it becomes bullying. It becomes kind of like ganging up on someone, because the whole point of Matthew 18:15 is restitution. It's reconciliation. It's trying to restore that relationship. Well, if you go to your brother or sister and the problem's not worked out, the next step in verse 16 is to take two or three witnesses. People that have seen or be involved in some way in this issue. So you take two or three witnesses, and then let the matter be established between the two or three witnesses and yourself. And so again, the whole point is reconciliation, trying to work it out. You're not going with a hidden agenda. You're not going with a case to just kind of destroy someone's character or who they are as a person. And so it needs to be fairly done. The person that is being accused of these things, that they need someone there that can be with them as well, to identify with them. And then lastly, if their whole situation doesn't work out, verse 17 says you take the whole matter to the Christian church. You take it to your church, you take it to your local church, and equally share about the problem. Now, most situations will never get to that point. But you tell it to the church so the church can hear about it. And obviously, if the person is unwilling to yield and has clearly got evidence against them, and then obviously the church needs to deal with that. And that person needs to be put out of that fellowship. So these things are so vitally important in our relationships. And so if we're honest with people, if there's an issue between us and someone else, just go and show them their fault, just between the two of you. Do it with love, do it with compassion. And I found when I've done that in my life as a Christian, that my relationship with that person is all the more stronger. And there's a mutual respect and love that develops into a deep and lasting friendship. So relationships, all important in the Christian church. And Matthew 18, 15, 16, and 17 outlines very clearly what we should do and the steps we should take to solve problems. And that way the church will be strengthened, it'll grow strong, and strong individual relationships make for strong families and strong churches, and ultimately a strong nation. Thanks for listening today, and God bless, and take care. Bye-bye.